Welcome to the Superintendent Effect, a podcast where we highlight strong leaders building strong communities. I'm Ann Brown. I'm the president and CEO of the Cook Center for Human Connection. And today I am so happy to be joined by Dr. Ryan Giffing, superintendent of Conrad Weiser School District in Pennsylvania. Thanks, Ryan, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Ann.
I'd really just like to hear about you a little bit. Help me understand what brought you to education and what was your path to the superintendency?
Yeah, so I started my career as an elementary school teacher. I taught third grade and fifth grade and never dreamed that I would be a superintendent. If you talk to friends of mine from high school that know what I'm doing now, they would say, no way, there's not a chance. And when I was in high school, I was a part of the class that made the top half possible. I wasn't the best student, didn't have the most motivation, but met my wife in college and she became a big inspiration and influencer and encourager in my life and helped me understand that I need to find ways to not limit myself. And so during my teaching career, my principal that I had as an elementary school teacher encouraged me to go back to school to get my master's degree and consider getting into administration. She saw something in me. And so I did that. I went back, I got my principal certification, and then went back for a second master's degree. But then I realized a lot of the classmates of mine were in a doctoral program. And I thought, well, if I'm already doing the classwork, why not get into the doctoral program? So I applied and was accepted to the doctoral program. And then they said, as a result of this doctoral program, you can take your superintendent's letter of eligibility test that will give you the opportunity to have a superintendency one day if the opportunity presents itself. So I thought, sure. Was a principal for 10 years. And then the assistant superintendent at Conrad Weiser opened up, and that's the district that I live in. My kids have been going through school since kindergarten. My daughter just graduated this year. And so I was the assistant superintendent here for 4 years. And then the then superintendent retired. I applied for the superintendent position and I've been serving in that role as superintendent now. It's just going on 5 years. So it's been a great opportunity for me and enjoying every minute.
You know what I love about that story is that I always think of superintendents as, the CEOs of perhaps the largest employer in your area. You might run the largest budget. You might have the largest transportation. You are such a central point of community leaders. You just really discussed a businessman's journey, like a CEO, because you took the opportunities that were in front of you and you built from those and you grew from those. And I don't know that the public always understands the journey that people go on to become a superintendent. Your education is almost at the level of, or maybe at the level of a medical doctor, but then you're impacting at such the local level. And so kudos to you for taking those opportunities. At the Cook Center for Human Connection, our major focus is the mental health of communities, and we believe that schools are the center point of the mental health for communities and the great work that you do. Can you talk for just a minute about some of the mental health supports and initiatives that you have in your district?
Sure. Yeah. I became acquainted with the Cook Center. It was born out of COVID. There was a lot of good that came out of it. And I know that can be kind of odd to say that, but in the midst of COVID, during the lockdown, everybody's home. And I'll just tell this little brief story because it's a nice lead into it. My family and I took a walk around our neighborhood. And we came home, and at that point, I was in charge of the response here in our school district to the pandemic. So I was sending the messages and doing all of the things. And we're taking a walk, and we come home and walk up to the door, and there's a bag sitting on my doorstep. And I said to the kids, don't touch it, don't touch it. I thought maybe somebody booby trapped it. I don't know what to expect in that bag. Come to find out it was a care package from a neighbor. So I thought, oh my gosh. So immediately I thought the worst, but really COVID was bringing out the best in people. They were saying, thank you. We know this has got to be difficult, but we just wanted to say thank you for all that you're doing. And so that really was the point that shifted my outlook on the whole pandemic. And I started looking for the good and for ways to help. And one of the things that we came across was parentguidance.org through the Cook Center. And we were looking for ways to support our students through this crisis, provide them with mental health supports, et cetera. The Cook Center introduced me to the parent coaching aspect of parentguidance.org. And I thought, we got to have this. This is something that will bridge the gap between the students not being able to get to a caregiver or provider because they were backed up for weeks and months. And we were able to provide supports to the families. So I think it was a wonderful opportunity, something that I'd never seen before. I was happy to be able to bring it in. So that's one of the biggest mental health supports I think we've been able to do in this district, for the last number of years.
Well, that's amazing. And we're so proud of our partnership with you on that as well. And I'd love to hear some stories about how that has helped and affected your community. But before we do that, tell me about something really exciting and good that's happened in your district in the last year or two, or that you're excited about going forward.
So we have been really focused on relationships, and that's going to be our big arrow. Our leadership team has coined it this summer at one of our leadership workshops. It's going to be our big arrow, where we're all sort of focusing our little arrow efforts towards this big arrow. And how do we cultivate relationships anew? How do we maintain relationships that we've had? How do we encourage others to be in relationship with one another? Students to students, teachers to teachers, teachers to students, students to teachers, all throughout the district. Sometimes you hear about teachers' unions, and then they can be kind of stressful. And here we have one that's very impactful. And we have cultivated a relationship with the leadership of that teachers association, the likes of which I don't think I've ever seen. And I'm not trying to be braggadocious. It is really special. And I'm very proud of that. I think if you spoke to anybody on our Teachers Association leadership team, they would say the same thing. Do we always agree? No, we don't always agree, but we have learned that we are fighting for the same thing, and we're not fighting with each other. Sometimes we're fighting against the thing that's getting in the way. With that perspective, we tackle things that are huge and we tackle things that are seemingly insignificant, but we tackle them. We have the tough conversations that are important, and we have the important conversations that are tough. I think it's been working really well, but it has been something that we've worked very, very hard to establish and maintain. So relationships are greater than everything else.
I 100% agree with you. The core of our connection and existence is the quality of the relationships around us. And I think it is the secret sauce and the secret to our success. So I love to hear that that's what your focus is. And, you mentioned the pandemic a minute ago. And I think about during the pandemic, we as a nation were very focused on supporting the frontline workers. We were focused on supporting the hospital workers and the fire department. And they were extremely important and vital to our getting through the pandemic. But the reality is teachers have been on the front line ever since we went back to schools and are still struggling with some of the pandemic issues. And so taking care of your staff and building those relationships feels like that is a really important thing to be considering as you go through this year. What are other ways that you're supporting your staff in this coming year?
We had a tough budget year. Within that budget, though, we tried really hard to make sure that our teachers have everything that they need to be able to facilitate a quality instructional program for our students. Our school board is supremely committed to making sure that our students have everything that they need and could possibly want. And like I said, we're focused on student success and making sure that they get something out of today that they can contribute to tomorrow. And so our school board is fantastic. They're close knit. We have one school board member who's been on the board for 40 years. So there's just some amazing leadership that's there. The number one thing that they ask me all the time is, do the teachers have everything that they need, and are the students taken care of? And that's really what they focus on. I'm blessed to be able to work with them. They have interests, not agendas. They're very interested in what we're doing. I couldn't be more happy to have the opportunity to work with them. But what are we doing for our staff is making sure that they have anything that they need. I try and encourage them to take risks, make mistakes, get up, try again. I dare them to make me say no to a wild, audacious request or idea that they have. If they're not having fun, how can the students have fun? Like, let's just make this an enjoyable place to be. I think that's the best thing that I can do. Our leadership team, we're going to commit to being in the classrooms and out and about, a higher degree of visibility for our staff. I think that will help in a number of areas too, but our staff are what make us go. I mean, we have an amazing group. We're looking forward to getting them back in the fall.
Oh, Ryan, I want to come work in Conrad Weiser. I haven't been in the
Absolutely.
classroom in a long time, but I would,
Go check out the website.
I'd come work in your district anytime. Like you, I taught upper elementary when I was a teacher. So I love the idea that you're thinking about the relationships it takes to be successful and all of the ones that you reached out to. Tell me what's keeping you up at night? What are you worrying about as a superintendent right now?
Our school district is about 2,500 students, about 247 teachers, close to 400 staff in total. All of those souls are what keep me up at night. what can we do for them? How can we help them? I mean, they all have their individual stories, their individual journeys. I don't want to miss an opportunity to do something that's going to help improve somebody's life. I have a little slogan that I say all the time. I said, it's make it better. Let's just make it better, just a little bit better. And so I hope that every day that they come to work or school, there's something that enhances their life's journey that they take with them and that they can pass along. What keeps me up at night is the responsibility that we have to our students, to our staff, and to our community to make this a better place for everybody. Yeah, that definitely keeps me up at night.
Well, I feel your burden, but I also feel your heart in that. And I think the people of Conrad Weiser are very fortunate to have you at the helm of not only their schools, but of their community.
Thank you. That's very kind.
What's the thing when somebody says your proudest moment in education? What is it?
I mean, there's so many things that I think of that we've been a part of to just change the trajectory of people's lives. I think my daughter's graduation this year, that would be a highlight. To be able to be on the stage with her, very special.
And not lose sight of the important things.
Outside of the important things, and I'll tell you, and I should have said this, and I'm an emotional guy, and so sometimes things catch me a little bit, and definitely, that's one of those things that kind of gets me a little emotional. But it's a good thing. It's good emotion. I've just learned to sort of lean into it. But that's it's who I am, and that's what I bring, and that's why I'm here.
Well, and again, that's the heart, and that's what you're bringing to your community. And just one other group that we really think about and are concerned with is parents. And you kind of mentioned your proud moment as a parent, but talk to me about how parents help and impact your district as well.
We have an amazing group of parents that contribute to our community. Many of them work in the community here, some of them work in neighboring communities, but we also are blessed to have a number of our parents and grandparents work in our district. Some of them are teachers, some of them are other staff members. We have a very close-knit community that really helps one another. Parents are always informed in this district. Oftentimes we have to make decisions, try and get input on the decisions as much as possible, understanding that we are the decision makers, but we want to get the input. Whether people win or lose by the decisions, if they've had the opportunity to have input and have a say and feel like their voice was heard, they're more likely to go along with that decision. We found that during COVID in a lot of messages and things, I would put my cell phone number out there. Other colleagues of mine said, "You're crazy, you shouldn't do that." But it was fine. It wasn't abused in any way. I feel like it was clear communication and access. And a lot of times that's just what people want. I find that many times the problem stems from a misunderstanding or a misconception, kind of like the monster in the closet. It doesn't exist, but you have to open that door together. So that's how we try and support our communities, by being open and having as much of a feedback loop as we can.
I love how you said we have to open the door together. That's amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to share about great things in Conrad Weiser?
I mean, our students are knocking it out of the park when it comes to a lot of things that we're doing. We have an extremely strong FFA program. We have a number of students who actually are qualified for the international competition, so they're going to be going off to that this summer. Academics are top notch. Our athletics are really hitting on all cylinders. We've got some teams that have done things historically that have never been done these past seasons. We've had more students in our music programs going on to county, district, and state levels than ever before. So feel like coming out of the pandemic, we're flying high. And I want to attribute that to the hard work of our teachers, our staff, our parents, our community, our administrators for getting in the way of all the things that could trip people up and making sure that teachers and students have the space to get the work done. So I couldn't be more proud and more blessed to work here. I love it. I think it's amazing. And I do have to say, I appreciate the support of the Cook Center. I think you're a wonderful organization and you do great things. And that's why I continue to have our affiliation with you.
Well, thank you. I can't thank you enough for being our inaugural guest on the Superintendent's Effect. I think you are the epitome of a strong leader building a strong community. And I was just so proud to get to have this conversation with you today. So thank you so, so much. And, good luck as we go into this next school year. I'm sure it's going to be the best one yet. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.